This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices. And to get a special price right now, you can go to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, Avram, we just talked about some assistance on one part of technology, which is finding consoles and GPUs, but you've got more for us as well.
Yeah, so let me share my screen, and I'm going to share at first my Windows 11 screen. How do I have Windows 11 on a screen? It's running in a virtual machine. So when I want to write my like Windows tutorials and things like that, I have it running in a window on here, and then I still am on Windows 10 on the actual computer. But so because of that, one of the things I want to show you, I have to go back to my regular computer because it doesn't quite work in virtual machine. So one of the things that people do the most and search for the most, whether they're in Windows 10 or Windows 11, works the same way, uh, is capturing your screen. There's a lot of reasons why you might want to get a screenshot, but maybe you want to show someone something you saw on a web page. Maybe you want to write a tutorial for someone. Maybe there's an image that you need to get that you can't quite save in another way. So how do you do it? There's many different ways of taking a screenshot, and they serve different purposes. So I wanted to go over them, not only how to capture a still screenshot of picture, but how to capture a video screen recording. So, and except for except for a couple of things on it, except for actually everything I'm going to show you is free, and almost everything is already built into Windows. So, uh, so first of all, the most basic way in the world to take a screenshot is to hit the print screen key. Uh, so if I hit that, what happens? It just copies the entire screen to my clipboard. It doesn't actually create a file. So obviously I need a way to edit or save that. If I'm, if I'm using Windows and I have nothing else, I have Windows Paint, and I can always paste the screenshot I just took, and that's the whole screen. Okay, that's the easiest thing, but not necessarily the best thing for everything. So another thing you can do is, let's say I just want to take a file, a screenshot file, right? I want to get this to a file. If I hit Windows key plus print screen, you're going to see that it looks like it flashed a little bit. And what that did is that created in my pictures folder, a screenshot. I have a few others in here. So this is the latest one. And it saved it as a PNG. So that's the that's a screen that is just grabbing the whole thing but saving it automatically. But a lot of times you don't want to grab the whole screen. Also, by the way, if you're on multiple monitors, either of the things I just showed you would grab all the desktops. So if you're me, it would look really weird because would have 4 different desktops next to each other. Uh, so what if I just want this window over here? Well, that's easy. I can hit Alt plus print screen, and that's going to capture the active window. So, and put it in my clipboard, not save it as a file. So if I go back to Windows Paint, you're going to see that it's just that window, right? Similarly, but you notice something that went a little wrong here is because I hit Alt and print screen, it caused a menu to appear, which maybe I wouldn't have wanted in my shot, because the Alt key does something in this program that I'm in, right? It puts these little, I don't know, these little letters up here, right? So I'm going to show you later how you can take in a minute, how you can take a delayed screenshot, and that will solve that problem. So the but what if you want to capture just a piece of something? Like maybe not a window, maybe multiple windows. You want to just draw a box. So the way you do that is using something called the Windows Snippet Sketch tool, and you hit Windows key Shift plus S, and that is going to allow me to draw a box around what I want. I can also draw like this weird, like circle or shape around it, but I don't think most people would want that. So you just draw a box around the part that you want, and then that has been copied to your clipboard, and that is what you can now paste. That is what you can now paste in. Um, oops, I want to say that. That is what you can now paste, right? But what if I want a delayed screenshot so that I don't have to deal with the fact that hitting the Alt key or hitting the print screen key or hitting some other key is going to muck with my shot? That I would also use Snip and Sketch for, but I don't do it through a keyboard shortcut. I launch Snip and Sketch, not snipping tool. There's two different tools. You want Snip and Sketch. And you select snip in 3 seconds or 10 seconds. So let's say 3 seconds. I'm going to click in here. Okay. Ta-da. Now it pops up and lets me snip. So if there was something that I had to do where triggering the screenshot would mess with the program, I can now use Snip and Sketch, give it a 3 or 10-second delay, quick run and do whatever it is that I need to have open, and then it will allow me to take a snip of that. So that's a delayed screenshot. Now, there's one thing, though, that Windows cannot do natively, and that you might really want to do, and that's capture a whole web page. So if I take like here's an article on Tom's Hardware. If I want to take a screenshot of this web page, you'll see that if I take a whole screenshot or the active window screenshot, I'm not going to get the whole article. I'm just going to get as much as I saw on the screen. So again, well, if I look at this, wait a second, but I wanted the whole article. Okay, but the article is quite long. The whole web page could be, hitting page down several times. What to do? Well, there's a third-party app that I love, and it is free for personal use, and it's called PicPic. Actually, I love PicPic for all screenshot stuff, but the other things you can do with Windows. But to be honest, I use PicPic for everything. So PicPic has a built-in editor, which is great, but one of its very best features, and it has hotkeys for everything, I should say, is it has what's called scrolling window. So I can click that, I hit scrolling window, and you're going to see that it's going to scroll ever so slowly down this web page. And when it's done, it's going to pop me up a really long image that has the entire web page in it till the very end. Now, this isn't only for websites, although that's probably the main use people would have for it. It also could work with Word document or anything that is a scrollable document. So this is taken a while, so I won't waste your time. The longer the article, the longer it takes to finish. But when you're done, it will appear in the PicPic editor where you can edit it or copy and paste it, whatever. So that is something else you can do. Now, one other thing you can do with PicPic, I'm short-circuiting this so we can go on to the next thing, is one other thing you can do with PicPic that I really like is you can program it to include the cursor, which Windows does not do by default. So if I go into the options, I think I mucked with it by stopping it mid thing. Okay. If I go to, this is the options for the editor. Oh, here we go. So if I go to the options here under capture, I can say include cursor image, and that will show my pointer in the screenshot. Otherwise, all the things I've just shown you will not actually include your pointer in the screenshot. Now, that is what you do if you want a still. Great. What if I want to record the screen as a video? I would use, there's a couple ways of doing this, but the easy and free way is to use what's called Xbox Game Bar. If if you've ever hit Windows plus G, you can see that um, in Windows 10 and 11, there's this game bar. Actually, kind of, there's this game bar, and the game bar has various things on it. One of which is capture. Um, but to actually initiate the capture, you don't even need to actually see the game bar. What you need is to hit. You need to hit the keyboard combination Windows key plus R. So if I now I'm going to close this window because the VM is not the virtual machine for some reason is not letting me. Oh, it's not Windows key plus R. I'm sorry. It's Windows Alt plus R. Is that right?
Yes, Windows Alt R.
Windows Alt R. And only because I'm trying to show you right now is it not popping up the little recording thing that it's supposed to, but it will pop up a little recording box and it will record. Now, what will it record? This is the trick. This is the limit. It will only record what you here. So it will only record the window that you're in. So, and it will not record the desktop and it will not record Windows Explorer. Maybe that's why it didn't launch for me. So if see, that's why it didn't launch. So there it is, right? You see this little thing here, and it will record everything I do in this window. But if I click outside the window, it will not record that because it's only on the active window. And when I want to stop it, I hit Windows Alt R and it does that again. So, all right, that's great. But what if I want to record the whole desktop and I don't want to deal with that?
Before you move
Okay.
move on this one, Avram, where does that put that?
Oh, good point. So where does it put the file? It puts it in your videos folder. So if you have a videos folder somewhere, there's a folder called captures that's created under there, and it will just record. It'll save that as an MP4 file right to there. So that's simple enough, and it will automatically include your sound. Although you can go into settings and have it not include your sound. But what if I want to just capture everything on the screen? Then I recommend there are many paid apps that do a great job of this and some free ones. But my favorite for this purpose is OBS. So OBS, otherwise known as Open Broadcasting Studio, is used by streamers a lot, but it is actually good for recording screen cap videos, even if you're not streaming them at all, just locally. So how you do it is you have I have all these different possible captures here, but what you really want is you want to do display capture. You want to create a source called display capture. If you have multiple desktops, you can multiple monitors, you can actually pick which monitor you want. So I'm going to create one called Capture 3, and I can, let's say I want it to be, I want it to be display 4 or something, right? So there's my display 4, and I can just hit start recording here. And again, this is going to save it. This is actually going to save it, I think, just straight to the videos folder, and do what I want. Stop recording when I'm done. File is saved. So that is kind of a quick look at all the different ways that you can capture your screen, all the different ways that you can capture your screen in Windows 10 and 11. That's you can see all of our Windows 11 and Windows 10 tutorials on tomshardware.com, including the 2 that we just talked about on how to record your screen as video and how to take still screenshots.
it really is interesting, Avram, because I do a lot of this kind of thing, and several of these I was unaware of. So I definitely appreciate this tutorial because I had never considered OBS for this kind of task. I've used it for far more complicated things, but I had never considered it for something as simple as screen recording. That was a great idea.
Yeah, I learned something else about OBS in regard to screen recording that I didn't get quite into because it's another level of complexity. But just to throw it out there, you can also use OBS to zoom in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Use you to create different scenes where you zoom in and out. So if you, let's say you want to take a screen video and you want to from a period of time zoom in on a particular menu or something, so that people's attention is more on that in your video. You can create a scene mode for that, and you can have one that's like zoomed into different corners of the screen or whatever.
Absolutely. I have used OBS, interestingly, for a big production that we did for a celebrity that we don't talk about anymore. And don't tell Instagram, but we used our studio to produce the thing, and then it came out with a video out into another computer that was taking that input, putting it into OBS, turning it sideways 90 degrees, and then pushing it out to Instagram Live, which you are totally not supposed to be able to do. There, there's a lot of interesting stuff that you can do with OBS, particularly when it comes to screen stuff, because it handles it really easily. So,
Yep. It is really good for that. I'm always a big fan of referring people to tools that are free,
sure.
particularly if they're free and open source, because open source means they're going to probably stay free. So,
Absolutely. Uh, Audacity being the scary possible exception to that rule, but that's a different topic. But as always, Avram, I definitely appreciate this more than normal. I appreciate this one because I'm gonna take some of these into my daily life. So thank you very much for that, and I look forward to what we talk about next. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Piltch Point with Avram Piltch. If you did, please subscribe to our channel, and of course hit the notification bell since subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. And if you've got topics you'd like us to discuss in the future, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you don't want to follow us on YouTube, that's okay. There's a lot of other ways that you can follow our content. You can find all of that by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all the different ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.